shit, that went really fast. I couldn't even read all that. Okay. Should I turn the lights off? I think I should turn the lights off. Hold on. I'm gonna turn my light off. Hi, kitty boy. Okay. Get the spooky lighting in. And by spooky, I mean it's still daylight out, so it's not that spooky. If you see my cat jumping around, by the way, there's a fly that got into the house, and so he's trying to hunt it. Hopefully he doesn't jump on me. Okay. So, oh, that's my hand? Gross. Let's grow my grandpa. Would you like to view the... Yeah, I would love that. Please read. This game is designed to be played with a mouse. The input required of you is based around clicking the mouse buttons. The right mouse button will change the cursor's image and function. Did you turn the light off? I did turn the light off. It's spooky times, Nemo. No lights for me. I have to feel as uncomfortable as possible. Only when pointing, indicated by the extended index finger. Matcha, do not climb on the blinds. That fly is not going anywhere. Indicated by the index finger, can you, the player, interact with certain menu buttons and prompts. Please click below in the pointing mode to continue. Okay, so it's hand, finger, hand, finger. Got it. Oh, man. Nima, have you ever heard of this game? The second cursor mode is indicated by the cursor's image featuring a hand extending all fingers. This mode concerns interacting with objects inside the world, mainly picking up an object and moving it into another position. The words are like wiggling. To continue, please pick up the piece of trash on the right and place it into the trash can on the left. Remember, the right mouse button will change the cursor's mode, but when holding something, the mode cannot be changed until the cursor is not holding something. Trash. Trash. That's it. There will be many situations in growing my grandpa that will require you to pick things up, place things, grab things, or give things. Matcha! That cat is attacking my blinds. Growing my grandpa is scary. Just the concept of the title itself is kind of creepy. I don't think it's like super scary. I think it's mostly just really unsettling. Don't be afraid to experiment and keep an open mind about using your hand. Please click the button below. There we go. In order to expedite the cleaning process, you can use digits 1, 2, 3 on your keyboard number now. Oh, number row, at the top of the keyboard. To reposition the trash can below, try moving the can to your right of the screen, 3 on your keyboard in order to... Well done. Please click the continue button to move on. And please remember, menu buttons must be clicked in the pointer mode. Okay, I'll keep it over there because then it's not behind my head. Otherwise, it's like I'm just putting trash on myself. I thought it was silly. Forgot about spooky season? Yeah, this is all spooky season, Nemo. You know how it goes. A variety of video options can be changed at any time. Use the function keys F3, F4, F5. F3 adjusts disable shader effects. F4 cycles through resolution. F5 changes cursor types. There are 3 cursor color schemes available, plus 3 left-handed variants of each color scheme. Oh, that's cute. So wait, F5. Oh! Okay. Well, this is closest to my skin tone, I think. I don't know. Wait, hold on. This way. Oh, but this way. This way. That's my hand. By default, growing my grandpa's display is scaled up by a factor of 2 and the shader is set at low. Hovering over the small question mark at the top right, there's a question mark? Oh shit, there's a question mark. Yes, that's it. Okay. Cool. Thus ends the tutorial. I hope you enjoy growing my grandpa. I hope you enjoy growing my grandpa. Infinite thanks to my patrons and supporters for believing in me and my work. Yames. Okay. Week 1. My husband is playing a different game entirely in the living room. Not spooky game. I excused Adrienne during music class today and spoke with her about her recent string of demerits. Oh my god. Can you tell I've never had a demerit before? Because I don't know the word. It was our first time meeting outside of our quarterly evaluations, and I believe it went well. I can certainly understand Miss Richardson's classroom observations concerning Adrienne's emotional state. Is it Adrienne? I'll be lurking, by the way. No worries, Nemo. Especially if it gets spooky. Feel free to be lurky as possible. This cat, hey, get down from the window. That fly, you catch that fly and eat it or else I'm gonna kick you out. She was, of course, intensely shy when we first met. As I understand it, she is similarly withdrawn in her classroom activities and only speaks or acts when she absolutely must. Something she simply will not do. Instead of participating in mandatory group activities, she will sit alone and accept that she will receive a demerit. Before the meeting, I read Miss Richardson's parent-teacher report, which allowed me to estimate a sum about Adrian's home life. The parents are well-educated and come from a prestigious background, but they lack time to properly nurture Adrian. She is often alone, and when she is not, the parents seem to not understand the importance of warmth and affection. Oh, affirmation when dealing with someone so young. Is that like maybe too loud of a hum? Let me turn the hum down a little bit. Having two parents of this reserved and icy temperament exacts an inhibition in a child. The child's imagination is subdued, but only ostensibly, for it eventually finds its way into regular life. I surmised that I would be able to reach out to Adrian by way of make-believe. Ew. Ew, that's the child? She looks pretty gross, won't lie. How are you liking your new house? You've told me you used to live close by, but it can still be a big adjustment. A new room, a new school.
The basement. I like that.
The basement?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of cool stuff. Mom and Dad sent me down there.
Your mom and dad made you go?
Yeah, but there's lots of cool stuff. Well, that's not why they sent me down there, though.
Why did they send you down there?
Fighting. They were fighting. Shouting. I came in to help and they shouted at me. They said go clean up downstairs, so I went.
That sounds tough. Do they fight a lot?
No, well, they,
It's all right, Adrian. Maybe you can tell me more about the basement instead.
Okay. Well, it was weird at first, the stuff down there, but cool. I found something living, sort of.
That's very interesting, Adrian. Please, tell me more. By indulging her in her fantasies and stories, I was able to glean more of an understanding of Adrian's anxiety surrounding her home and parents. The symbols of Adrian's story seem to carry their own traumatic weight, and her exploration of the basement may very well be a vehicle for the conveyance of her anxiety. Ooh, too creepy, Nemo? It ain't creepy at all. She's just in a basement. Whatever might come of our next meeting, whether she will engage in similar make-believe, I will set down her story here. Adrian's story begins with her delving into the basement, with the trash receptacle and the goal of cleaning up. She discovered one of the walls was covered in plastic bags. She went to investigate, intent on tearing away whatever they covered. Ooh, it's 3D? Oh, okay. Hold on, I'm gonna move this trash can. Shader turned off. No. Low. Okay. It was 3. There we go. Move that trash can. Trash bags. Okay. Trash. Upon removing the plastic trash bags from the wall, she noticed their interior lining was covered in glass. Like a window, I offered. No, she said. Like a mirror. Reflecting inward towards the animal they covered. I gently asked her what exactly this animal was. Here is where the material reality of the story took a turn for the explicitly fantastic and imaginary. Ooh! Upon her discovery of it, at her gaze, it grew, or extended, its shaggy-haired self. Hair like the fur of a dog, I offered. No, she said. Not the fur of a dog, nor the hair on her head. It grew out towards her, the animal's hair, reaching out. It was hard, standing almost straight, like the hair on a brush. A bristle, I offered. Yes, she said. She was very afraid at first, but then very curious. I asked her what else was in the room. More things hidden away, she said. Things of Grandpa's as well. First, she found a hidden passage under the stairs. Inside were strange dolls, magic objects, naked, faceless figures. I heard those cryptic utterances and merely nodded. In order to keep the game of make-believe going, I only pressed for details where I thought necessary. You weren't gonna ask for details about the naked doll? The faceless dolls could be a simple metaphor for the anonymity and that she feels in her own home. The hidden passage. I am unsure of what to make of that. By the way, when I do voice acting, I legit have to sometimes look up how to pronounce things because I suck at pronunciation. The revealing of the concealed seems to be thematic in her fantasy. The door under the stairs is but one example. Oh, you made it! Hey, JV! Just in time for the creepiness. Can I touch it? Okay, can't touch it. Oh, wrong. Okay, so it's just a question mark. It's just there. What's this? Nothing there? The darkness of the shadowy corner unnerves you. You cannot explore here without some form of light. Hey, hi Hine. Just checking in before you leave for a trip. Oh my gosh, I hope you have a safe trip. Thank you for checking in. Oh, okay, I can't go that way. I hope your trip doesn't involve growing any grandpas. Okay. Trash pile. Question mark. Oh! Once she removed the panel and found the magical hidden passage, she was very specific about what she took. What's the opposite of a submissive? A boredom? Oh my god. She found a magic book, a magic doll, a photo of her late grandpa, and magic glue. Wow, I like magic glue. Hold on. I want to go to this trash pile before I do this. Okay, scratch that. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do anything with this trash pile. Okay. Take doll, search closet. Okay, I guess I'm throwing stuff away. Yikes, this looks sus. Yeah, this game is super sus. But right now I'm just cleaning up. Oh, glue! All-purpose glue. Trash. Trash. Cleaning simulator. There's one up here? Yeah. Oh, hey. Papers crudely bound together to form a book. Read now. The impetus of this research was the recognition of a particular pattern in fragments of documents relating to magic and magico-religious practices. Numerous sources were drawn from commentaries on laws relating to the banning of sorcery and necromancy, compilations of folk charms relating to love spells, something of saints and their encounters with devils. The list spans many centuries and a great distance, from the Levant to the Khazar Khaganate, to the border of the modern nation states of Russia and Kazakhstan. Oh my god, I can't read! From the paper trail arose a consistent account about a certain form of magic relating to the binding of demons to a sorcerer's will. A demon called the Heaven of Needles, or the Angel of Needles, was known to be kept best by shamanic keepers or wards who suffer from face blindness, whether by birth or through developmental causes like a stroke or head injury. It was known to be extremely effective, but terribly dangerous. So much so that it became outlawed several times and was genuinely a popular scapegoat relating to unexpected death. This nexus of magico-religious meaning-making, sorcery regarding human-related desires, and the history and science of neurological disorders related to the fusiform gyrus— what the fuck is all these words? Is where the subject of this dissertation will reside. I can read that word. I will outline further and then analyze the historical sources I mentioned previously when I will go into the neurology of mystic and magico-religious experiences. After that, I will detail my ongoing correspondence with a resident of the Ural Mountain region who is an expert folklorist and keeper of traditions he claims have been passed down through the extended family for generations. Dude, this lady needs to use periods. Or Mr. I don't know. I'm reading it, so I think it's a woman. They need to use periods. Ew! A photo of your late grandfather. Grandfather needs eyes. Does he not have eyeballs? Okay. Take doll. Ooh, a slouching doll. Its material is rough and coarse. I interrupted to ask what she did with these magical, mysterious materials. Grow grandpa, she explained plainly. And then without missing a beat, she continued on with her story. She said the title! Feeling this was a potent symbol, I stopped her again to ask what she meant. Somewhat puzzled, I did not understand immediately. She explained slowly. Okay, leaving now. Have fun, Marie. Have a joke, by the way. Wait, when Asian parents punish their kids, they're actually teaching the kids how to sing well. It's called belting for a reason. Oh, that's really sad. Also, I don't think it's just Asian parents who used to use the belt on their kids. Because I'm quite sure there's a lot of my friends who weren't Asian who got belted. Thank God people don't do that too much anymore. Okay, but have fun on your trip. JB, you got hit with a belt? I'm so sorry. At least I just had like a spoon on my bum. You know, the big wooden paddle spoons. Didn't help. Now I just like spanking. I'm just kidding. Just take that off the stream. Take that off the stream. And wooden spoons. Okay, JB, you and I, we're on the same wavelength. Have a good one, Hine. Drive safe or fly safe. Go safe. Go safe. That's English. Grandpa lives in the cage in the other room. The cage behind the door. They grew people in the cage. Can I get the heads? Whoop! Moused out of the room or of the window. Okay. Oh, door. A hastily written note. What? I wanted to read it. I didn't get to read it. Fuck! I pushed the wrong one. Does this game have jump scares? I don't think so. I think it's just mostly really unsettling. A note on an experiment 2-4. I didn't read that other note. I'm so sorry. The sample's exposure to some of our neural activity is unavoidable. However, the speed at which its desirous yield is produced can be dampened by several precautions regarding libidinal and emotional urges. Keep conversations not related to lab work to a minimum. Okay. If you begin to suspect that you are developing attachments to your colleagues, contact me as soon as... Nobody's allowed to have workplace love in this place. Oh shit, there's 4 notes. For the sake of university policy and the health of any future career you hope to have, you will abide by the non-disclosure contract you have signed. Do not break the vacuum without my prior consultation and approval. Any anthropoidic forms, now it just sounds like I slowly said the word dick, brought into the enclosure area must not be left attended. When not in dormancy, the sample will attempt to take anthropoid shells. Please see shell notes for more on that. Ritual behavior with the sample, trading, bargaining, will result in dismissal from the project. The precise mechanism of the exchange of symbols and gifts required for a requested desirous yield is not known, and even then, anecdotal accounts of success are blankish and in violent death. Regarding growth cycles, every time Whiskers regenerates and leaves dormancy, it is to be logged as a new propagation. The sample's bodily existence cannot be cannot be cut from the whole, so there can only be one living propagation. Propagations are to be terminated after 5 weeks. Is that footsteps? Any further development puts us at risk. Termination procedures will be posted and followed with extreme care. With all of that out of the way, I want to welcome you to the project. I look forward to working with you. Dr. Hart. Beyond the door, in the room, the cage was hidden, concealed in another cloak of inward-facing mirrors. A hidden cage lined with mirrors. It is strange, almost poetic. The elaborate fantasy of self-reflection, concealment, captivity. tape. At the cage, she finally cast her spell. But it was confusing, she confided at first. She took the magic doll, the magic glue, and the photo of her grandpa, and she combined them. And she wished very hard. So she just glued a picture of her grandpa onto the doll. I can only assume in this fantasy that next her wish would come true. In what child's story would it not? What? Particular human representation, generic human figure. Well, I want my grandpa. That would be very particular. Representation of grandpa. Oh, yeah, doll. Okay, glued together. A tangible symbol of intention and desire. She put grandpa in the cage, assuming that was part of the ritual. She was not clear on how it worked. She's a child. What precise instructions she could glean from her grandfather's magic book was complicated by her reading comprehension. She wished with all her heart, and then she told me she waited a while for something, anything to happen. And after that time, she began to cry. I cried really hard, she said. I wanted Grandpa to be back. I wanted my parents to stop being so mean. And it hurt me. It heard me wish for Grandpa to come back, for my parents to be different. I could feel it through the walls, and it felt me through the air. I asked her what exactly she meant. She could only repeat what she said. By this time, lunch was almost over. I said goodbye to Adrienne, and she left to rejoin her class. I was left to consider our conversation. I believe the storytelling strategy I have employed was not unfruitful, but I must probe deeper if I can. Although I can be sure of nothing I interpret, the impressions I get may begin to help me get an idea of the right questions to ask. Knowledge you acquire this week has given you access to certain topics, or keywords, you can discuss with Grandpa. You have gained the conversation topic, wish. Consider discussing this when Grandpa emerges. You have also gained the following keyword, shell. Consider discussing this with Grandpa when Grandpa emerges. So, like, do I gotta wait for Grandpa to, like, come out? I feel like that's gonna take a while. He ain't gonna grow in 1 week. Oh my god, water tastes so good. I met again with Adrienne in order to address her emotional outbursts in the past few weeks. It is our second time meeting, and while it is standard practice to have multiple sessions with a troubled student, as I assemble a report for the counseling department, I could not help but think, as we sat down in my office, that Adrienne already seemed to show a remarkable change in self-esteem and confidence, and perhaps my and Miss Richardson's estimation of her as emotionally disturbed was erroneous. The paralyzing shyness and withdrawn attitude Adrienne possessed last week was not entirely diminished, but she seemed to hold herself differently this week. However, this only lasted as long as our conversation pertained to initial introductory pleasantries. When I began once again asking about her parents, her feelings regarding her new school and her new home, she quickly lost what new confidence she had gathered up and withdrew again into herself. So once again, I partook in some collaborative make-believe. But this time, I was aided by the fact that I had managed to do some research into Adrienne's grandfather, and I had some insight into what she might actually be finding in the basement. Now, this may be overstepping my bounds, some as a school counseling cares worker, but this was all in the service of making Adrienne comfortable and happy in this learning environment. In any case, I was able to dig up information regarding the grandfather by inquiring at the university in town. Not that I make it a habit of sleuthing, but I had a suspicion the grandfather was a professor there, or at least some sort of researcher, due to the fact that the newly constructed laboratory on the campus I drive by every day bears his name in memorial. He was some sort of anthropologist, or linguist, or neuroscientist? I did not have to dig that deep before the scope of his work became dizzying and I ran up against the limits of my undergraduate education. But back to the make-believe. What is your grandpa like? Is he a smart man?
Not anymore, but I'm teaching him.
So he's grown a good deal then. You have been feeding him well.
Yeah, he is bigger, but he has a lot of room in his cage.
He's still behind the bars?
Yeah, well, he might be able to climb out eventually. There's this vent in the ceiling.
Well, perhaps if he climbs out, I could meet him someday.
Yeah, maybe. But he's not ready to leave. He can't take care of himself. I have to feed him, pick up after him.
Ah, and you store your food in your lunchbox. That's nice of you to share.
He can almost talk.
You cannot speak with him?
He doesn't have a mouth, sort of.
But how do you feed him?
He has a mouth on the outside, on his shell, or the stuff that is his skin.
I'm a little confused. Maybe you can go through a typical day with your grandpa?
Okay.
I asked her to explain how exactly she goes about growing her grandpa, and Adrian began another tale. According to Adrian, in the week that had passed, much had changed in the basement. It still looks the same to me. Oh, I still have my glue. My lunchbox. Oh, seek out food for Grandpa. Examine. The hairy thing that was here before is gone. The fuck was that? What was that? Okay. You should go see Grandpa first. Okay.
Okay, Grandpa.
Wake Grandpa. It was scary at first, she said. The way he moved, the way the doll's skin covered him. What? I wanted to interject. This somehow seemed inappropriate, but I kept listening. His fucking phone. I'm gonna move my phone all the way over there. When I look at him, she continued, when I think about him, he grows and moves. It's like he's growing for me. So he's growing bigger now? I asked. Yes, she said. Bigger every day. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh, it's like a giant earthworm. This begins the actual growing part of growing your grandpa. Beneath the doll's burlap skin, the follicles knit together what resembles a proper person, your grandpa. You are in charge of its cognitive development and diet until it is able to sustain itself. Currently, you are observing Grandpa. Please click the arrow back button below for a brief tutorial of your duties as caretaker. So, the doll I put in the cage, it injected itself into it. The doll did not have that much fabric. What the fuck? Okay. Hello, Grandpa. Oh! Here we can see a variety of options regarding growing your grandpa. Highlighted in red are objectives related to feeding and teaching Grandpa. Important messages regarding Grandpa's recent activity will also appear here. You will need to find food and learning material before you can move on to the next week. Some foods will make Grandpa happy, others merely content. Some food will make Grandpa disgusted to the point of nausea. Learning material is also scattered throughout the basement. Seek out vocabulary cards intended to help teach English and basic anthropoidic concept information. The options highlighted in red are related to navigating around Grandpa's enclosure. The Go to Grandpa option will let you perform all actions directly related to Grandpa: feeding, teaching, observing, etc. Accessing the Study Corner will let you go over any documents you pick up as the weeks go by. It is a good idea to learn about the work of the people who last occupied this space. Accessing the Kitchen Corner will let you search for food in the old refrigerator and prepare food for Grandpa if need be. The Help button will replay this tutorial. The Save Game button will save your current progress. You can only have one save file at a time, so if you have save data, you will be asked if it is okay to overwrite it. The Exit Game button will take you back to the main menu. More buttons may or may not appear depending on your development of Grandpa, so watch out for them. Kill Grandpa. One final note, take care to explore the basement at your leisure. However, due to the entropic nature of clutter and trash, different weeks may allow you to find things you had not previously discovered. Good luck! Okay. First, let's save. Game saved. Okay. Feed Grandpa 2 items, teach Grandpa 2 words, and explore the basement. Let's explore the basement first. Cabinet. Examine. Slouching under the weight of rotten refuse. Cabinet. Trash. 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 Is that just a sock drawer? The fuck is that? All clean. Oh, blueberries. Looks edible. Grandpa might like this. Why is there blueberries in my garage? Top drawer. Gosh, I'm just cleaning everything. Cleaning simulator. Ew! Ew! Baby doll heads. Baby doll heads. Without eyeballs. Babies. All clean. An account of an acquisition. Before we began, he had us all cover our faces completely. An earthenware pot was something, and on the inside, as we stole brief glances at it, we could see the interior was inlaid with mirrors. The something gave it small pieces of dough, spoiled food, chicken feed, something keeping it content. Dude, it says right here, I can see it says meat. Pieces of dough, spoiled food, meat. What do you mean chicken feed? It says meat. The keeper gestured towards the small bag where the food composted and told us to be careful not to feed it any meat. I asked if the rotting food was enough to sustain it, how it might get nutrients from any of this. The keeper regarded me seriously and said it did not matter what it was fed. The act of feeding itself was what mattered. The act of feeding flesh is another act, however. He then gave me another series of grave warnings regarding not keeping any animal-deprived foods near where I might be keeping it. Okay. Do not feed it meat. Got it. Oh, it's a safe. I need a key. Okay. This music in this game is so weird. Examine. Something about this painting looks strange. A folder full of radiographic images. You can examine this in detail later at the study corner. Oh, great. I wanted to read it now. Trash pile. Trash. Oh, what the fuck is that? Someone vomited. Fiberglass insulation. This isn't really food. Grandpa might eat it, however. I'll feed my grandpa fiberglass, sure. Maybe desperation. Trash pile. So it's just this little girl just scrubbing through trash, finding food. The waste here smells particularly strong. Is that a bunch of, like, old food canisters? I can see, like, paper plates and plastic cups. Get in the trash. Okay. All clean. What's you? A simple paper doll. This might be useful in the construction of magic symbols. Okay. Huh. Can't do the closet again. I hate how you can barely see the mannequin just kind of standing there. Not a big fan of that. Can I... This one's still too dark. I can't go there. Examine. Trash. Trash pile. What is that? Newspaper? Oh. There's a lot in this trash pile. Oh, excuse me. Corroded battery. This isn't really food, but Grandpa might eat it. Oh, vocabulary card hello. Linguistics module. Hello. Okay, teach Grandpa this word to read the notes of past educators. Cool. Bulbous growth. Something appears to be growing from the wall. You take a closer look. Ew! A pulsating sac. The slimy membrane that is its skin seems to contain something. It might be able to be opened with a blade. Oh, great. You want me to cut it? Examine. Hairy thing before he's gone. Okay. Well, I only got technically one thing that's food for Grandpa. Sure. Save. Let's go to study corner. Examine educational posts. Look over documents. Magic book. Oh, so that's the thing that had all the really weird words in it. Okay. Hastily written note. That's the one I didn't read before. Read more. I have repeatedly called your homes to no avail, and so I am forced to leave this here for you all. I found William sitting in the corner of the enclosure area, seemingly severely concussed. Whiskers was gone, in none of its usual hiding places. I immediately suspected the worst. The project thus must be suspended for now. I am leaving up the usual mirrored coverings we use to keep the anthropoidic void sealed. I have done my best to lock up everything on such short notice. It is a hasty fix, but it will require some time to find a more permanent remedy. I am honestly hoping you do not find this note, as I intend to lock the house down too. I intend to race off to you to retrieve your lockbox keys. Do not worry about William's key. It and the rest of his equipment is almost certainly deep within Whiskers now. I pray you do not enter this room. No matter how it may appear, William cannot be helped, and is only being kept alive as a means of continuing predation on the rest of us. What? I will say once again, no matter what state you may encounter William in, he cannot be helped. I have sympathy for the young man, I truly do, but I found on his person several photos of his late sister, which would imply certain risks he knew he was taking. Our extant research materials have now become possible liabilities, either criminal or professional in nature, so I have stashed them away. I believe I let you all know how I might do this. If we were ever to experience an event such as this, I hope you all remember what I told you. So long then. Dr. H. Dr. Hart. My grandpa, I'm guessing. Right? My grandpa's name was like Hart. Is William also a Hart then? Does that mean, is he my dad? Is my dad an alien? Radiographs. You said I could look at them, you lied. Examine educational posters. Oh shit. Let's just throw away these educational. Family togetherness. Fuck your family togetherness. A set of procedures regarding disposal / internment. The researcher will seal off the enclosured bars, ensuring minimal gas leakage during the later fumigating process, and then retrieve the burn barrel and place it near the enclosure. Allow at least 48 hours of time where the current growth cycle experiences no human-related stimuli. Do not enter the enclosure area, nor any part of the basement. Ideally, you will not be on the grounds at all. After 48 hours, 2 researchers will enter the basement wearing their assigned mirror mask, mirror apron, and powered air-purifying respirator. The researcher will use the vent system to fumigate the enclosure area. Wait 30 minutes and then use the fan system to ventilate the enclosure. Keep the fans running during steps 3 and 4. Re-enter the enclosure area wearing your assigned mirror, mask, and apron. There's a lot of mirrors in this game. The organism may or may not be complete dormancy. It is not in full dormancy. Be assured that its capacity to act against you will be greatly diminished. With your assigned powered drills, quickly remove any enclosure bars needed to access the organism. Put them aside for later reinstallation. Put the organism into the burn barrel. Incinerate the organism thoroughly. Wait for any smoke to be properly cleared by the fan system. Turn off the fans. One researcher will retrieve the nucleus from the ash and place it in a mirror box. The other researcher will sift through the ash and place any other substantial remains in the biohazard bin in the room opposite of the enclosure area. The bin is locked for safety purposes. The code is 323245. I feel like I have to write that down. There's a part of me that's like, write it down. 3, 2, 3, 2, 4, 5. The researchers will fill out a termination form and leave it for Dr. Hart. You've gained the conversation topic, biohazard bin. I don't think Grandpa's gonna understand that right away if they don't even know hello. Search file cabinet 1. Oh shit. More trash. This place is gonna be squeaky clean though, won't lie. Is this coins? Oh! It was said to pass the steppe people, another pressed organ south called bowl covered in lacerations with. Oh fuck! I forgot to read it. Cashews! Okay, Grandpa will totally eat that. Look over documents. This. Read. It was said to pass from one family of steppe people to another, but pressed on its ultimate origin, somewhere to the south, coiled in a bowl covered in incantations, buried upside down by a graveyard, a common late antiquity demon trap. The keeper, an elderly man in failing health, was ready to expound on and on about the dangers of the organism, but when I asked more pointed questions about the history of its acquisition, I was given curt responses that had a way of circling back to vague warnings. Okay, so whatever this was originally found in a demon trap by a graveyard. That sounds great. This is gonna be my grandpa, isn't it? File cabinet number 2. So most of this game looks like it's just throwing stuff away. I won't lie. For a spooky game, it's not really spooking me right now. It's just kind of like weird. I don't feel really scared. All clean. Grandpa! That's it? Okay. That was weird. That was like clipping it for me. See, are these bones? I'm also like grabbing bones, I think. I am the boner lord. See, this is a bone. Bone. You remove the taped down fabric. Oh, there was tape to reveal the cabinet's wooden bottom. Bottom. Research participants, please take note. Each growth from a cycle does not require a shell, but you may find the sample will often try and seize on something somewhat flexible it can grow into, along with any desirous yield it may generate. Or else it will move from one shell to the next as it outgrows them, like a hermit crab. In the small amount of time I've spent with it in preparation, I have noticed it tends towards human forms. However, we should keep a tight lid on the anthropoidic seal in order to be cautious before we begin to experiment with exposing it to long-term anthropoid stimuli. Is it calling itself anthropoid because it's technically an anthropod, like a hermit crab? So this is actually a crab. My grandpa is a crab. To my colleagues, I don't mean to overly severe in tone, but Dr. Hart's work is very important and the materials we are working with is potentially very dangerous. I'll be handing out a copy of this note as a reminder to everyone I'm not trying to single any particular person out. We all have misconceptions about the nature of this project from time to time. With that out of the way, here are some things to keep in mind. The active growth must be thoroughly terminated via the corrective procedures at the very least 4 weeks after dormancy is interrupted. It doesn't matter what you've done or haven't done regarding tests or procedures or how much the anthropoidic vacuum has been disrupted. We are not ready to go beyond 4 weeks at this point. A step-by-step guide, a step-by-step guide to termination has been posted. I already read that. In case of emergency where the vacuum is disrupted, put on your equipment and begin the lockdown procedure. Make an extensive note of when and how the breach occurred. If you find the habitat empty, page Dr. Hart immediately, but do not attempt to speak with anyone else. This thing can get very smart. I'm sure you're very well aware that the stories we heard on our acquisition trip. The greatest caution should be used when dealing with a potential aggressive mimicry scenario. Please seek me out if you have any more questions. William. Oh, that's the dude who perished. You slipped the radiographic images you found into the machine's display. Is that a poop? Oh, shit. That was a tiny little jump scare. How about that, JB? Propagation number 21, day 19 after dormancy, anthropologic vacuum broken, yes. Terminate at 21 days. Regarding to the mimic hypothesis, a participant entered a sealed chamber adjacent to Whiskers, which had been freed from the anthropoidic vacuum, constructed quite economically from plastic and broken mirrors. So the vacuum is just its mirror cage. Okay. Why would you call it a vacuum? That's not a vacuum. The first propagation's original earthenware vacuum was shattered during the movement. Yeah. Okay, so that's what it was originally found in. It was found in an earthenware pot that was next to a graveyard, and when they moved it, and it had like a bunch of demonic symbols, they moved it, it shattered. They had to make a new one that's full of mirrors. So that's how they contained this thing. Between the two, there was a semi-opaque glass panel that allowed observation both ways. The humanoid participant was asked to think of someone in the popular consciousness, fictional or no, and cogitate on their image, personality, face, if possible, voice, if possible, etc. Our participant chose Jesus of Nazareth, and with weekly repeated exposures to the participant's imagings, propagation number 21 began forming what resembled an anthropoid Nazarene in the fold of its spines. So, they've propagated it 21 times since they found it. And in this one, it started to look like Jesus out of its spine? Okay. Previous human-oriented tests have always bore out a result that Whiskers would form an anthropoid team member, be it me or Dr. Hart or Gerald, and we assumed it was merely mimicking one of us. Dr. Hart has always contended the desirous yield, or the anthropoid reproduction Whiskers creates when in contact with human beings, has always been based on the conception and relation to the person through someone else. With this framework, the desirous yield is not exactly a replica of a person, or if it is only a replica of the fiction of a person generated in the mind of another. At least he didn't think of like, he was like, I'm gonna think of Jesus, and then just accidentally you get like Pamela Anderson or something. Big booby bitches. Propagation number 2, day 0 after dormancy. Vacuum broken, yes, term at 6 days. It was terminated 6 days. We've taken to calling it Whiskers, though of course some have interpreted it as hair or needles or quills, but Whiskers is more accurate, as the needles are really more like supersensory follicles or spines. The nerve nets distributed throughout the I'm gonna need so much water today. This game has so many words. Resemble Genius Hydra, but have myelin sheaths that are functionally the same as vertebrae. As we can see in the X-ray, each spine is laden with dense optical arrangements similar to compound eyes. The Hydra connection is assuredly worth investigating with regard to the organism's capacity for regeneration and anecdotal deathlessness. It's certain it is robust enough of a creature to inspire marvel that is not untinged with fear. Okay, so this is just them figuring out what it is the second time. Propagation number 14, day 14 after dormancy. Ooh, the vacuum was not broken, terminated at 16 days. Exposure to mammalian forms, part of a series of zoomorphic influences, led to further understanding of the propagation's ability to simulate the somatic stem cells that constitute fully developed animals. I write stimulate in the previous statement because examining the tissue of each propagation leads me to believe its amazing capacity for accelerated growth of vastly different forms comes from its cell-level mutability. And yet, at no time does it function as a thing, it becomes except in the sense that it mimics it. That is to say, when Whiskers is removed from dormancy and replicates a rabbit's morphology, it is not seeing from the rabbit's eyes, nor smelling from the rabbit's nose, but pretending that it does, and doing a very good job of it. Okay. This is number 5, day 10 after dormancy, no broken vacuum, terminated at 12 days. Radioactive cycle was taken at around growth cycle number 4. A strange thing about it was that the subject of the image was found nowhere near the enclosure. It's almost like a piece of Whiskers fell off and scurried into the corner. I feel like we've learned a lot since then, but at the time I remember speaking about the morphology being weird, not really even resembling any extent zoomorphic structure. Perhaps maybe a cuttlefish. I love cuttlefish. Then I happened to open the thing up. Inside were all these little dead amoeba-like things. But they all sort of looked like they had faces. Faces that were just barely there. After I looked into the radiograph, I gathered it up and went to go throw it in the biohazard bin. That's not how you spell throw. As I walked by the bars of the enclosure, I could hear Whiskers suddenly going wild, flopping around and grunting excitedly. Could it have smelled the cuttlefish thing? Would it eat its own production? I guess it's technically flesh. Don't feed it flesh. This game outright says, do not feed it flesh. This is beyond the scope of the project, but it could be that without the stimulus of an active brain, or more specifically, a healthy and active brain capable of face recognition and theory of mind, Whiskers begins to pull whatever it can from the limited data available to it. Again, this is not our focus at the time, but I left a note for Dr. Hart just in case he wanted to take a look. Okay. Cool. So that was the study corner. Let's go ahead and feed Grandpa, I guess. Let's go feed Grandpa. Oh wait, I can search for food too. Lettuce. Lower fridge. Banana. Brown banana. Grandpa should probably eat that first. Prepare food. Fruit or vegetable. Banana. Unappealing item. None. Go to Grandpa. Feed Grandpa. Would you like to view the tutorial before you start? This brief tutorial will go over the basics of feeding Grandpa. Via induction of your unprotected insula, Grandpa has stimulated the production of tooth enamel to mimic a human mouth. It will need to be fed through this in order to properly learn and grow. First, you will need to select an item from the lunchbox. Click on the lunchbox in the bottom right corner. The contents of the lunchbox will be displayed. Select an item from the lunchbox. Doing so will fill your hand with this item. Note that any food can be put back into the lunchbox by clicking on the lunchbox with a full hand. Before Grandpa can be fed, it must judge the food by smell. Hover your hand above Grandpa's olfactory bulbs. If Grandpa is pleased, it will allow you to feed it. I have no idea what this picture is trying to show me. Most foods Grandpa will accept. However, getting Grandpa to consume other things requires some culinary deception. When Grandpa is willing to be fed, hover your hand over its mouth and click. Grandpa will then consume the food. Oh, is his mouth sideways? Good luck on feeding Grandpa. I don't want to feed Grandpa Ew. Ew. It like squirting wiggles. Let's feed Grandpa. You approach a small window set in the jail bars. Is that a vagina? If Grandpa's enticed by the smell, click on the mouth. Let's do a banana, because it's kind of old. Was it over here? Click on Grandpa's nostrils left of its mouth. Grandpa seems indifferent to the smell, but will accept this meal. The meal appears to have been sufficient. Oh, so the preparing food is like, I'd have to prepare normal food with like the batteries to make it eatable. Edible. Let's do blueberries. Grandpa finds this palatable. I'm feeding Grandpa's vagine. The meal appears to have been sufficient. You step away from the window set in the bars. Grandpa grunts in appreciation and locomotes towards its favorite corner. Okay. Grandpa is fucking weird. Go to Grandpa. Observe. You examine Grandpa, noting its movements, respiration, and general mood. Grandpa seems sort of sluggish and bored. You get the feeling it may be more content and readily cooperative once fed and taught a word or two. No, let's teach Grandpa. Hello. Yes, please. Example. This brief tutorial will go over teaching Grandpa pronunciation and vocalization. The vocabulary word you picked will appear in the top left corner. In the bottom right corner will be a pentagon that is divided up into 8 sections. A section of this pentagon will be highlighted briefly. A notification sound will play, and soon another section will be highlighted. You will continue a small round icon that sits above the pentagon by using your mouse. The ball is constrained in the limits of the pentagon. The goal is to keep your icon over the highlighted area and move it as the area changes sections around the pentagon. When you hold left click above the correct highlighted area, the icon will start to vibrate, along with the simulated vocal cords, and the current letter of your word will begin to turn red. What the fuck? Keep holding over the highlighted section. Sure. Teaching Grandpa these words will accelerate its cognitive development and lead to further breakthroughs in general intelligence. Yes. You approach the small window. Wait, do I need... What? Oh, wait, this one. Is it this one? I wish the mouse would fucking... This one? Dude, I have no fucking clue. Is this the L? This is the L. Let's just stay here. Come on. Get back here. Now I need to find the O. Like, I have to wait for the ball to freak the fuck out. I think it's this one. Yeah. Deep within Grandpa, strange membranes phonate confidently. That does not sound like hello. Having completed a lesson, you take a look at the back of the vocabulary module card, and the notes were written by administrators of the past. Hello! General pronunciation comment, sloppy articulation, module comment. We are already encountering some difficulty as Whisker's subjectivity is so much determined by a diverse and dynamic array of influences. It attempts to mimic the thoughts and desires it passively intercepts, and these imitations go on to structure the basis of its identity. Only later in Whisker's growth cycles does it begin to form an identity that are coherent and capable of resembling a sane, rational human being when engaged in conversation. One must imagine how hard it would be to converse with someone who is not yet oriented in one particular way towards who or how they are to become. They might have 20 different honest answers to those questions, all of them mixed and muddled together. Because of this, we have started with the basics of conversation. Greetings, partings, identifying one another, forming questions, etc., etc. It is fortunate Whisker's current growth, number 19 I believe, has developed a mostly accurate human mouth simulation. Hello was a bit of a challenge in the previous growth, as it had failed to develop an adequate organ to act as a human tongue. You step away from the bars and store the module card at the document table. I need to teach Grandpa. Okay. Ooh, this one. This one. Which one is gonna freak the fuck out? This one. Fuck. And now Pa. Is it this one? Yeah. Which one was A? This one. Come on, get on it already. My lips are flapping over here. Slapping. Wow, refuses to get on this one. Come on. Every other one but this one. Oh shit, I can't get back on it. Stop. Why are... Oh, am I supposed to hold it? I'm supposed to hold it. That's why it's been so hard. Okay, that kind of sounded like Grandpa. He's doing better.